So we need to identify a set of contacts to invite to attend to our event for our Change for Life initiative. In this instance, we want to target our teachers who have an interest in healthy eating. So we're going to use the Advanced Find tool, which is a search facility which lets us search for any information within the solution. So we're going to search for contacts in this instance, and our contact type is of type teacher. So if we scroll down and look for contact type, and the value that we're looking for in this instance is teacher. And the other criteria that we want is we're looking for teachers who have specified an interest in healthy eating services. So we've created a field called healthy eating, and any teacher that has said yes to that will show up in our final search result list. So let's go ahead and see what that brings us back with. So here we can see we've got quite a few teachers that meet this particular criteria. In this instance, let's just select the top 6 because it's just a small focus group that we're working with, and we're going to add those to an engagement list. Now I could go ahead and create a new engagement list, but in this instance we will just use one of our pre-created Change for Life teachers lists. But just to give you an example, this is a sort of high-level information that you would need to enter about an engagement list. So the name, the purpose of it, where the list was obtained from, etc. But as I mentioned, we'll just use the Change for Life teachers event. And we're just going to add those 6 contacts to this particular list. Okay, so just to recap quickly, we've looked at how we can identify stakeholders. We've seen a typical contact record. We've used an existing engagement list, and we've associated our stakeholders to that list. So just to cover off some quick benefits, we've got the ease of usability for users to use our search facility. We've got a set of reusable engagement lists which can be used where appropriate. And finally, the concept of engagement lists provides us with a central storage for use of marketing lists which can be used in other areas of the business. So the third scenario that we're going to go into is inviting our identified stakeholders to attend an event. So this is our Change for Life Teachers event. So we're going to look at how we can set up and manage our engagement, how we can then distribute the invites to our contacts via a number of different channels, and in this instance we'll use an email via a letter via mail merge. We will then show how each of those letters that gets produced can then be linked back to the contact in question. We'll also show how we can then track each of their responses, so whether the person decides to attend, declined invitation, whether they don't want us to send them any more communications, etc. And then finally, how we can use automated follow-ups after the event. So let's go ahead and have a look at an engagement. In this particular instance, we can hold various pieces of information about an engagement. So we've termed an engagement to be sort of a subset of a consultation. So a consultation could be running for a 6-month period. And in that 6-month period, we may engage with the public a number of times, so it could be focus groups, surveys, one-to-ones, interviews, etc. In this instance, it's just an event. So we've got high-level information about the event, start and end dates, our engagement code, and here on our event details area, we've got all our relevant details about the event that's taking place, where it will be held, number of maximum capacity of attendees. I'm just going to quickly point out, we've got this publish event details on web checkbox. What this allows us to do is directly submit all of these details onto our NHS Trust website, where we can then allow stakeholders to register online. We've also got a financials area where we can start to track and manage the budget of this particular engagement. And then finally an administration area where we can see who's responsible for maintaining this particular engagement. So let's actually have a look at some of the planning tasks. So planning tasks are all the areas and the specific tasks that you need to complete in planning and preparing for this particular engagement. We've also got engagement activities, which gives us a list of the various activities that need to be completed. So this could be distributing our actual invites out. If we scroll down further, we've got our engagement responses. So this is where we'll start to capture each of the responses from our invitees. Going down further slightly, we've got our target marketing lists area. So this is where we can start to link our Change for Life Teachers event list to this particular engagement. So I'm just going to search for that particular list, and I'm going to add that in. So now that we've linked our engagement list to this particular event, we can now go ahead and send out our communication to our set of teachers. There's a number of various channels that we can use for communication. We can use letters, emails, phone calls, faxes, and each of those via mail merge also. So letter, fax, and email via mail merge. Using the mail merge option, this takes us into the standard Word mail merge facility, which the majority of users have familiarity with. So what we're going to just quickly do is use our distribute campaign activity button at the very top to actually to generate those letters and send out those letters. So we get an option here to use either a blank Word document or use a predefined template. I've already pre-created a Change for Life template, so we're just going to use that. So as I mentioned, this takes us into Microsoft Word and guides us through the standard Word mail merge facility. So first of all, select our recipients. So we'll see our 6 recipients here, the 6 who we added to our engagement list initially. Select OK for those, and then run through the 3-step wizard, preview our letter, and then finally complete the merge and submit the letters for printing. We finally get an option here which allows us to record the fact that we generated each of these letters. So if we were to go back and look at our contact at some point in the future, we would see that they were actually sent a letter inviting them to the Change for Life Teachers event. So we're interested in capturing that information so we can start to build up a better picture of our interactions and our communications with each of our stakeholders, and then follow up with those and see how effective our communication is. So once that's all completed, we can have a look at our letters which have been generated. As you'll see in this instance, 6 letters were generated because all of our teachers have valid postal addresses, and they've all happily requested that they'd like us to send them communications via letter. So, moving on to our engagement responses. So, a few days may have passed, and we start to get our responses from our various teachers, whether they'd like to attend, whether they'd like to register for the event, and we can start to enter in that information either manually or through our link to our online website. We can allow we can allow contacts to register online. Just to quickly show you, anyone that registers online, their information gets directly inputted into the CRM solution. So as you'll see here, we've got two events. These are both displayed based on us selecting that checkbox earlier that published event details to web. And users and contacts will be given the URL to this particular site where they can go ahead and register online. So this helps us to reduce the amount of manual data entry for our administrative staff. And as you'll see, all of the information that gets entered in online gets automatically populated into the engagement response form. So the final thing that we're going to quickly do is have a look to see an email that was automatically generated and sent to each of our stakeholders, our teachers, once the event had taken place. So this just gives them quick follow-up, ask them for some feedback, and this is automatically generated from our workflows. So let's just quickly recap. We've seen how we can manage an engagement from beginning through to completion. We've seen how we can distribute our invitations through a number of various channels, and the integration that provides us with Microsoft Word. We've seen how we can start to capture invite activity, so whether we're sending letters to people, emails, etc. We can start to track our responses either manually or electronically through the online website. And then finally, we can start to generate automated follow-ups. So some of the benefits of these. Just to reiterate the point of the familiar look and feel, the use of Word for standard mail merge. We've seen how we can track each interaction automatically. The web registration, which helps us to reduce manual input and saves time. And finally, we can start to automate any set of activities as required.